Hello guys, it's me Simo Orahara, and in this video we'll talk about SENJUMARU and what she did at the end of the second core. We will talk about this character that will surprise everyone, whether with the power of thousands arms that she has or her broken Bankai. This Bankai holds several big secrets that we will talk about, but first I must say thank you to Kubo, because he did a great job in adding many scenes that has something to do with Zero Squad. Because I think those who only watch the anime will not see any difference in the events, but those like me who used to read the manga weekly and saw how the Zero Squad was one of the topics of controversy among the fans, so much so that Kubo in the manga wasn't able to highlight their abilities. Later we learned that he was suffering from illness that caused him to remove a lot of things, so that his only concern at that time was to speed towards the end. But now when he had the chance to make up for those missing things, he did not hesitate to get involved with the city to add all what he can do and write all these new scenes that we saw for Zero Squad. So much so that I think if we wanted to measure the matter in terms of manga chapters, I think he added 2 chapters about Zero Squad and Elite Guards, so we can see SENJUMARU'S brilliance. And frankly, the amount of changes and additions that Kubo made cannot be talked about in one video, but I would like to point out some points that we must take into consideration regarding the power of the Zero Squad. And the first thing is that the fact that the members were in Royal Palace, so this automatically gave them countless advantages, like that their bones turned into oaken thanks to the power of Rio. And this is a given that we must take into consideration, guys, because it enables the members of Zero Squad to obtain a kind of immortality, so that even if they die and one of them remains alive, he is able to bring them back to life. However, it seems that the only negative that Zero Squad has is that they cannot unleash the full power of their swords. And I'm speaking here about the Bankai. And I believe that the reason for this is that all that amount of power may affect the cocoon in which Ryu is located. And this might cause a major problem for the balance of the worlds. That's why I believe that the more destructive the Bankai is, the most dangerous it is and its impact on the Riot Palace. And this is a good chance that I would like to take to respond to those who try to underestimate Yamamoto's Bankai. Just because when SENJUMARU released the Bankai, the worlds felt an earthquake. Yes, we can never doubt the power of SENJUMARU'S Bankai. On the contrary, SENJUMARU has shown that she has one of the strongest Bankai in the story. But at the same time, we must not see the matter from one point of view. We must take into consideration the place from which SENJUMARU released the Bankai. She released it inside the Royal Palace. Add to that, it is a Bankai that occupies a large space. So imagine the energy exploding from it. It is natural that the power of the Bankai will affect the worlds, since it was released in a sensitive area like the Royal Palace. Because by the same logic, we might say that Ichibi's Bankai is weak, just because when he released it, the worlds didn't feel any tremble. Therefore, I hope my point of view is clear. Back to SENJUMARU, frankly she is the star of the battle. She took even the brightness of Ichibi, and that was clear from the moment Bach entered the Royal Palace. SENJUMARU has shown her extraordinary abilities by forming a fake Royal Palace only with fabric. And the terrifying thing is that SENJUMARU's fabric takes on a real form. You can never distinguish it from reality. Lilibaro believed that he killed SENJUMARU and destroyed the cities of the Zero Squad members. It later became clear that all these things were only SENJUMARU's fabric. And here is where we can see the danger of SENJUMARU's Zanpakuto. I think her Zanpakuto is called Chigari. But honestly, I don't know if it is a constant release of Shikai or what. I mean, are those arms part of the Zanpakuto in addition to the needles, or is the Zanpakuto just the needles? But whatever the situation, SENJUMARU's ability, I find it the most effective of all the Zero Squad members. Firstly, she can form anything exactly the same to the original. For example, she can form copies of herself, and she did that with Lilibaro and also Gerard. Secondly, she has a very good defensive ability by using her arms to form an umbrella that protects her from the opponent's attacks, and she did that with Yuryu. The other important thing is its healing abilities, when she used the fabric to treat Nimaya and restore his lost limbs. What she did reminded me of Orahara's Bankai. As for attack, she uses either an umbrella to reflect the opponent's attack or needles, as she did against Nyanzal or Gerard and also against Yuryu. So imagine that we're talking about all these abilities and SENJUMARU didn't use the Bankai yet. It's like Ichimonji. the same style of abilities. Ichimonji can cut off the name before Ichibi even releases the Shikai, and Ichibi can also use those giant hands and legs as kind of additional abilities of his own. And this is where the advantage of the member of Zero Squad. As for Senjumaru's Bankai, it can be considered a type of Bankai whose ability has a wide range and includes several people at the same time, like Kyoraku's Bankai. So Nimaya told her that she was the one who should fight them alone, since her Bankai is very effective for such battles. And the basic form of the Bankai is a large weaving machine that is shaped so that it surrounds the enemy on all sides, and we can see several carpets appear. So in order to talk about the ability of the Bankai, I would like to point out a feature that distinguishes Senjumaru, which is that she is a seamstress in the first place. And as a seamstress, she has the ability to distinguish a person's body so that she can measure his height, part of his body, and everything that has something to do to his shape, so that she can make a suitable clothes for him. And this is what she did with Rokia, Renji, and Byakuya, and also Ichigo. So there is no doubt that her Zanpakuto has a great ability to form a general idea of the person he will activate his ability on. Therefore, from this standpoint, it seems that Senjumaru's Bankai is capable in some way of finding the suitable carpet for the opponent that can either eliminate him or seal him. And it can do that through diving in his past and his future to find the ability that will beat him. Because as everyone noticed, especially those who read the manga, the Bankai defeated the elite members using techniques similar to the ones that they used to experience in the past, or techniques that will defeat them in the future. The most prominent example we have is how it defeated Lilibaro. Lilibaro found himself surrounded by 8 mirrors, and several eyes appeared, so that when Lilibaro tried to hit them, those bullets were reflected on him and he died. And this is what also happened to him in his battle against Nanao and Kyoraku. Nanao reflected Lilibaro's light using Hakyuken, and the name of Hakyuken means 8 mirrors. What happened to Askin Naklovar also carries symbolism. The 3 objects that were closed on him are similar to when he used the gift ball deluxe, and may also refer to the 3 people, Orohara, Kiski, Gorimijo, and Nel. Also, Gerard was frozen with ice, and this is the same thing that the adult Toshiro tried to do by using ice as well. While per Nida, the presence of these billions of grains of sand, I believe, made it unable to control that huge number using the nerves ability. Plus, we know that Pernida's main power is advancement, while the Bankai was doing the opposite, which is dragging him to the bottom. As for Hirschfeld, we saw the fires. It is true that the fires were not a factor in his defeat in the manga, but the fires are linked to Hirschfeld's character. When he was young, Hirschfeld lost his uncle and the place in which he lived in. All of that because of the fire caused by Yuhab. Likewise, the fight that took place between him and Busby in the future. Therefore, these 5, Gerard, Lilibaro, Askin, and Hirschfeld, Pernida, the way they were defeated is similar to the battles they will fight in the future, or something that has something to do with their past. And here we will talk about Yurio. As for what happened to Yurio, it remains a mystery, but I can say what happened to Yurio is that Senjumaru formed a star similar to the Auswern, so that in that case the Auswern would kill Yurio, because Yurio is the only person, the hybrid one, who did not die from the Auswern that Yuhabach did in the past. And if you notice, Senjumaru said, a star lights up in the middle of the darkness. And in episode 25, when Yuhabach did the Auswern, a bright ring appeared that looked like a star in the middle of the sky. So that if you compare this scene with the scene where Yuryu was placed in that carpet, you will find them similar. And also I think that the reason why Yuryu didn't die and was just defeated against Senjumaru and Hirschfeld died, if Yuryu died, Yuhabach would not be able to bring him back to life, since the Auswern has no effect on Yuryu, and therefore this is why Kubo made him got defeated and not killed. So if you go back to the matter again, we will see that Senjumaru's Bankai is using abilities capable of defeating the opponent, and these abilities may have been used in the past or in the future. For example, fire was the reason for Hirschfeld's loss of his uncle. Hirschfeld wasn't killed by it in the past or in the future, but Senjumaru's Bankai was able to defeat him. As for Yuryu, the Auswern was unable to harm him, neither in the past or in the future. But it seems that this time, the ability that Senjumaru used, which is similar to Auswern, was able to harm Yuryu. As for Gerard, the ice that was unable to freeze Gerard, that was used by Toshiro in the adult form, Senjumaru's Bankai was able to completely freeze him. Likewise, what happened to Pernida was the opposite of its ability. Its main ability was to advance, while Senjumaru's Bankai was dragging it down with the black sand. Therefore, Senjumaru's Bankai is a terrifying Bankai capable of surrounding several powerful characters at the same time and using several abilities that suit each opponent to defeat him. Now the only problem is how the 8 guards will be back. And what Kobe did is that we have 3 members of their squad died. And now I think the 8 guards will be back and defeat Senjumaru, and then the Zero Squad topic will be end. So guys, what do you think about Senjumaru's Bankai, about the whole fights? Tell me in the comments and see you guys in my next video.